Hey everybody, it's Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's time for Undergroundopolis. It's time for a beer. If you don't have one, grab you one real quick, or any kind of nice libation. I know I'm going to have a couple because it's a good night. I'm really excited to have these guests on. First thing, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up and subscribe so this video gains some traction. And we're just going to talk about a couple of things for a second. The Master Musicians Festival in Somerset, Kentucky is July 16th and 17th. And there's probably about 50 or 60 performers. And at the end of the night, Saturday night is Blues Traveler. Y'all know how many people remember Blues Traveler? Blues Traveler's going to play. I'm kind of excited. I want to see them. And there might be a guy with a press pass that looks a lot like me. So I'm really excited about that too. And so I wanted to be sure and plug that in. Couple of big announcements here. Undergroundopolis might be changing nights. I've taken another job. Join the Fiends of Undergroundopolis discussion group on Facebook and tell me which night you'd like me to do, because I'm going to be I took a role of hosting an open mic at Dundee Tavern in the Highlands in Louisville. I did it last year. I wasn't going to do any more open mics, but when they asked, I was like, man, I can't tell you all no. But I'll be hosting it again for a few months. Anyway, and finally, our guest. Finally, a bass and drum duo. I love White Stripes and I love the Black Keys and all, but I get so sick of the guitar. Because me being a bassist, I like to see bassists, and whoo-wee. I don't know how much of that song you heard, but they're no joke, man. They're Spitfire from New Orleans, and I know we discussed this before the show. I probably didn't say that right. Let's bring our guest on.
Hey guys.
Okay. Tell us who you are, where you're from, even though I've already introduced you.
My name is Michelle, and I'm from New Orleans.
I'm Ana de Ferreira, and I live in New Orleans now. I'm from Brazil, but I live in New Orleans.
That's why you rock, because there's a lot of good rock coming out of Brazil. So there's a lot of rockers that are coming out of Brazil. They are, man. What got you all to come together?
Oh, man. I've wanted to play music my entire life, and we met through a mutual friend, and we just started jamming, and it's awesome that you're a bass player, so props. Yeah, after trying to find a guitar player for a while, we were just like, yeah, fuck it, let's just be a duo, and so that's what happened.
I moved here to New Orleans, and all I wanted was a girl band, because I used to have in Rio de Janeiro, I have like a 5-piece heavy metal band, and I moved here like, I need a girl band here now. It was so hard. I found here much harder to find female musicians than in Brazil, but I'm so glad I found it.
I've got a shredding female in my band. So I do. That took a long time to find her,
Yeah.
Well, if there were some kind of influence that you could narrow down that made you say, like you saw live or a concert, TV or whatever, who would you say? Is there somebody you can narrow down like that?
I mean, it's kind of.
It can be more than one.
Place, but like huge fans of kind of the stoner metal, but like the Palm Desert stoner scene, like back in the day, like Caius and stuff like that, and that turned into like Queens of the Stone Age and things like that. But even farther back for us too, like Sabbath and Zeppelin, and I'm a huge Rush fan. So yeah, it's a lot of the older stuff, but it really kind of is rooted in more like the stoner metal stuff, stoner rock.
Yep. I'm a Queens of the Stone Age fan. That's for
damn
sure. Damn sure. And if Josh, you're watching, I have written you about coming on the show, and you just ignore the shit out of my messages, man. Well, how would you describe the music that you create?
I think the more that we've gotten our stuff out there and we've played live, a lot of people have been saying it's kind of like a heavy blues, like heavy psych blues. Because at the beginning, like we were like, yeah, I think we're stoner rock, but I think the more that we've developed, there's a to kind of what we're doing. And then just with the way that I sing, I mean, like a lot of like my influences come from like blues. So yeah, I would say like heavy blues is kind of what people are pegging us these days.
Yeah, like I feel like on the drums, even sometimes when I add some double pedal here and there, there's some hi-hat doing like a dance groovy beat together, and it's all mixed up.
In fact, we have a song called Groove, just because we were like, hey, I think this kind of sounds like that. So yeah.
Well, speaking of drums, what is that drum kit you play?
I play a Pearl Decade Maple. It's like a bright yellow drum set. So I'm kind of, people know me because of that set, because like I'm bright yellow and a girl.
I noticed it. I noticed the Rickenbacker too. Don't get me.
That's my baby.
Lisa Umbarger from the Toadies plays a Rickenbacker.
You can't go wrong.
Yeah, so that means it's great. She was on the show a couple of months ago. Nice. Just plug a little shameless self promotion there. It's my show. I can do that. Do you have a particular?
Do what you want. Do you?
Do you have a particular like creative process of some sort, or does it you just get something in your head? You got to pull over on the side of the road, write it down before you forget it, like I do.
I wish I could come up with. I wish I could like write stuff. I mean, as we've developed, like when we first started getting together, she was like, "Do you have any music?" I was like, "No, man. You just want to jam." And she's like, "Let's jam it." I was like, "You just feel it."
Because like in Rio, I used to rehearse with my bands. Usually the guitar player would do something at home and send to everybody. Everybody would learn in their houses, and we go to the studio. There's like time is money. So everybody will learn and get there with something in mind. But here we had like a studio that we can stay hours and hours. And so I never really got to jam. And I was telling her like, I don't know how to do it. Like, I don't know how to do it. But now I love jamming, and it's kind of funny to this story because it's so crazy that I wasn't able to have fun, to experimenting things because like time is money in the studio. We can play.
But here we've got a practice space, and I didn't have anything written. I just knew that I wanted to play bass. I've wanted to play bass my entire life. I started on guitar, like acoustic guitar, at a younger age, but like I don't know. We just got together, and our writing process is very collaborative. Like she might have like a drum riff that she digs, or I might have like a riff, but like. I think from our different experiences, like she has a lot of professional experience and I don't. I just got a lot of heart. So we would just jam, and I think that's where all of our songs have come from, is just jamming, and we're like, hey, we like this or we like that. Like we record everything that we do and just kind of go from there. So
yeah, we feed each other with ideas. Yeah.
My favorite thing to do is just play with a drummer. Like, no offense to guitar players, like I think I'm a closeted guitar player. But like I just love getting together with a drummer and just feeling it and just go with it.
Screw guitar players. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding. Well, I mean, you seem to be doing very well in New Orleans, which is probably hard. It's probably, I mean, there's a great music scene there. I've not played there. I've never been there yet. Not yet. I will go there. I just could imagine that it's really hard to impress in New Orleans. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, it won't be the first time I've been wrong.
I don't know. Actually, she probably can say more because I've been working here as a cover band musician more than the originals recently. So I'm having this more experience with originals right now. I mean, we just did 2 shows and I thought it was amazing.
Yeah. It's very, very surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, the scene here. I mean, I go to a ton of shows. That's one of my things that I love to do. I love going to see live music, and I love like supporting everybody, because writing music is very difficult, you know, and you pour a lot of your heart and soul into it. So like, it's kind of heartbreaking if like nobody shows up to your show, you know. So like, I really, really love doing that. And we have so many amazing bands around here. Like I would say the scene is predominantly kind of like punk and hardcore. But I mean, we've got like the old schoolers, like I Hate God and like Down. I mean, like the 90s is like, I mean, everybody wants to sound like Down. Like, come on, like, so
Yeah,
like
who doesn't?
Corrosion of Conformity, like you had a lot of like the old school bands from like the 90s that sort of set that tone for like a lot of the bands that are trying to emulate that sound now. So it's really cool to kind of be, and I guess where it was incepted. I mean, there's something, it's hot and it's slow down here. So it's like, it kind of reflects itself in the music. But yeah, I'd say it's a lot of like punk and hardcore. Like I love grind. I didn't even know what grind was, but the first couple of times I went to a grind show, I was like, this is my jam, you know? So yeah, I love going to shows where it's like fast and like aggressive. But the music that we play is a lot more like kind of bluesy and stuff. But you know, there's a place for it. There's a couple bands here, like shout out to Green Gasoline. You guys should check them out. Like old school rock. They sound like they're from like the 70s, which is amazing. So there's pockets.
If Green Gasoline is watching, hit me up to be on the show.
Oh, you definitely hit them up. They're fantastic.
See, when I was making the event, I kind of said doom metal, and the only reason I did that was because the video was on that Doom channel.
Yeah.
The 666 Von Doom or whatever his name is, and
yeah.
I've had several of those bands off that channel, and I was and so I just kind of randomly came across you all when just letting it play, you know, just heard it, and I was really impressed.
Yeah, I'm really glad, you know, just on a whim. I mean, I've been listening to that dude's channel probably since like 2015, 2016. There's like several podcasts and YouTube channels that I've followed for a long time. And just on a whim, I was like, well, you know, screw it. Let's see if he puts it up there. And so to be on his channel as a fan is huge. So that was really cool.
Oh, had my mic muted. You lost my place. I was reeled in. How many shows have you played now?
2.
2? Which one was your favorite?
It's so hard.
It's hard. I mean, I think speaking from my experience, like our first show was like, that was a big deal because we played at a bar called Santos, and like Santos like has a lot of like the bands that I love. I feel like it's like my second living room. So to be able to play there was really awesome.
The second was in Lafayette last week, and the people there were so supportive. It was unbelievable. That was really special too. So, but the first show is always going to be the first show.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to the Freetown Boom Boom Room. They're doing an amazing job in Lafayette. So it's really cool to see places in Louisiana that are really trying to keep live music alive, which is really important. Let's
see. I'm so scared I'm going to mispronounce his name here. Jordan Maderi. Does that sound close?
Yeah, that's Jordan.
When's the EP coming out?
The goal is to get in the studio in August, do 2 days maybe, hopefully knock it out, and hopefully mix it that same month. But our goal is like early fall, is because I wouldn't say we've been dragging our feet. We've just been trying. I know for me, like trying to get my tone the way I want it to sound, and also just like finalizing parts of the songs and stuff. So we've got. Okay.
It's interesting also to play the songs live because I have the chance to mature a little bit before recording. So I like that idea. We have like more 5 songs for now. Yeah, so we've got 5 songs for sure ready, and that's going to be more than likely we're just going to do a self-titled EP, just because. But we've got 2 or 3 more songs in the works, so we're kind of working up to that 45 minutes or so. But right now our set's about 20-25 minutes if we talk a little bit. So.
Well, don't rush your record. I've done that before. Big mistake.
Yeah, we definitely have not done that because my anxiety kicks in. I'm like, I'm not ready.
No, yeah, I always tell her, because my other bands we rushed it and didn't work, so I was like, it's gonna be worth it. Let's just take our time. I'm not in a rush.
Yeah. I've got a good album too, but I've made a bad album before. Oh, let's see here. Oh yeah, and anybody watching, you got any questions? Please, we'll spit them out. Spit them out. I've got a generic list of questions that I kind of use as a guide, but as you've seen, we've already gone on several different tangents. And I love your questions. I'm sure they love your questions, especially if you've not heard them yet. They would. I'm sure that would be really exciting for them to hear from you.
I want to say a shout out to Bobby. I just saw Bobby earlier. Bobby is one of the guys in the scene. I mean, he's like, I'd almost say he's like, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. He does a zine called Paranoise, and he's just really important to the scene. He does a lot to like promote the music around here. So shout out to Bob.
That's awesome. Hell yeah. Facebook viewer Robert Freeman, since the layoff of shows, have you been able to write more music, and where are you able to draw influence from for those songs?
Well, COVID sucked. It sucked a lot. I know personally, I was wanting to play live. Like I felt like I was rushing the process. The same thing with like wanting to record and everything. So when COVID hit, we had the 5 songs, but they weren't where they needed to be. And so we basically just used this entire time. Actually, we wrote, it's a cover song. We have a song called, it's based on A Change Is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke, preferably sang by like Aretha Franklin, but we used the lyrics and we just kind of put our own spin on it. But that came from COVID. We were just kind of jamming acoustically, and I didn't know what to sing, so I just sang one of my favorite songs in the world, and boom, we got a new song. So it helped us because I think it took a lot of the anxiety and the pressure that I was definitely putting on myself to get out there and play live. And we just wrote and worked on stuff.
So if you could go open for anybody, who would that be?
Oh
man. What do you mean?
Like if we were the opening band for something.
Man.
That's a hard one.
I like that question. I've got a couple that's going to make you think.
I mean, I would love to open for Rush, but Rush isn't around. Rush or Primus would be amazing for me personally, just because as a bass player, those 2 guys are huge influences on me.
Oh well, my favorite bands are Led Zeppelin and Queens of the Stone Age, so roll it.
I think we would definitely both agree to open up for Queens of the Stone Age would be pretty badass.
Alice in Chains too. I love it.
So lost my place again. Good thing I can edit this. What would be your favorite Spitfire song to play right now?
Well, what's your favorite one?
My favorite is Groove, because the name it says itself. You gotta let it go and groove a little bit, just relax, which is so hard nowadays. We both are overthinking for people.
Very much so.
So like the music is where we can finally relax and just deliver ourselves to the song. So that groove for me is where I can
just kind of let go and stuff. I think for me, the changes, that's kind of where we end our set, just because that song it's been a really important song for me, like as a person who kind of struggle. I think we all struggle just in general to kind of be happy, or just life is hard, life is heavy. So it was really cool to be able to like incorporate that song into our set, or into our catalog, I guess. So I think that's my favorite one to play.
And also, we didn't say anything about it, but we write the lyrics together. I think we have a lot of experience that blends. So.
Yeah, I think just as women in general, like we have a lot of shared experiences as people who like deal with like anxiety and just like perfectionists trying to be, you know, so like we share a lot of experiences. And so there's been several songs, like our first song that we open our set, Nowhere, she wrote the lyrics, and you know, I just kind of adjusted it for like the English. So she's Brazilian. And we're actually working on a new one now, which is super bluesy, that she wrote the lyrics as well. So just but yeah, I would say, I mean, it's a 50-50 split with us. Like I feel like I can sit in my room all day and I can come up with riffs and stuff like that, but I tend to overcomplicate things, or I think I want to be complicated. It's just what I do. But she's able to kind of rein things in. And so I really love kind of writing together. I don't know how else to do it, honestly, at this point.
Yeah, sometimes I just bring her some crazy beats
that's the best.
She can put some fuzz on it, like, oh, I'm gonna do a samba beat. You put fuzz on it, and we make it stoner somehow, and it works. And everything sounds like us. They are all different songs, but
yeah, we pull from like she said. There's like a samba beat that we worked on, and there's also like a Cajun beat that so like. Oh. I consider her to be as just I think we're both students, but she's definitely a student of the drums. And she likes to experiment with things. And I love the fact that she has a space for creativity, as opposed to, I think a lot of drummers have to react to what's been written for them, whereas where we write things together. So, I mean, I love writing with a drummer just because I can just start to feel it and then just kind of go from there.
But you're talking about me, but she studies a lot too. Like she's been studying to sing and play at the same time a lot in the last year, because before us, she just play, right?
Well, I had a huge learning curve. Like I picked up bass in 2003, but then life, Katrina, just everything, career, everything. I just stuck to acoustic guitar and just just regular chords. But in 2017 is when I was just like, I want my life to be this. I've always wanted my life to be this, but I finally just did it. And I walked into Guitar Center, and I walked into that special room and went into the corner, and I was like, I want that one. And I got the Rickenbacker, and since then, but I didn't have anything. I didn't even really know how to play. So for me, I've only been playing for 17, 18, 19, 20, maybe 5 years now, but for us, it's only been like a year and a half, maybe 2 years at that. And I had a very, very steep learning curve.
Hey, can we expect a tour out of you after the album's out?
What's that?
Can we expect a tour?
Oh, absolutely. We're already, I mean, the plan is already, we want to make it to Texas, just because Texas has a really good scene. I was going to Houston and Arlington a lot. Just if you want stoner rock, if you want just rock in general, like Texas is where it's at. There's an awesome label called Ripple Music, and they're having a festival in August. So our goal is to kind of work our way up north in Louisiana and then come back down through Texas, and hopefully, I just want to end in the desert. I don't know where, but I just want to end in the desert.
So do you have this big giant pedal board that you?
It's. I want it bigger. I want the biggest. Like when I say, like if you look at like Big Business, if you've ever seen like his setup, like that's. I mean, if I had all the money in the world, but I still do. I buy like a crap ton of pedals. But right now, it's actually I've honed it down, because with what we want to do, I want that fuzz, but I also do want some clarity. So, and then I basically have a fuzz pedal, a wah, I have a boost. And then I've got like some reverb and things in there, but I'm running stereo because the Rickenbacker can split the pickups. So that's how I'm acting as a guitar player and a bass player at the same time.
Every time we're going to start rehearsing, she's like, I have a new pedal. I'm going to try here. I said, okay. I got to wait till everyone.
I feel so bad for her sometimes because, I mean, I don't know. I'm still learning. I think as a musician, you're learning every day. I mean, if you're not learning, then I don't think you're like growing as a person. But there's been several times, like she's very, very patient with me, because I will get so frustrated with like my gear or things like that. But, I think if anything, playing live has taught me to let go, because I can dial something into that. I can dial something in the practice space all I want, but every room is going to be different. The acoustics are different. So if anything, that's been a way for me to let go and just maybe have some more fun instead of being such a control freak.
Well, that's the thing about playing bass that nobody understands. Everybody thinks that's going to be an easy instrument. It's not. It's like that's the one instrument besides the vocals that you really can't screw up on.
No. And I think a good bass player, like in an actual band with a guitar player, you got a 3-piece or whatever, that bass player is like the glue. He's the bridge between what the drummer's doing and let the guitar player just twinkle toes. I just call them twinkle toes. Just
Absolutely.
The bass and the drums will create that nice little trampoline for them to jump on. So, but I will say this: my latest fuzz pedal that I got is so cool, and it's orange velvet. When I bought it, I was like, "This is going to get disgusting very quick." But what's cool is it has an octave boost, a very simple octave boost, so I'm able to sound a little bit more like a guitar with it. So. It's called the Foxy Tone by Warm Audio, and it's a reissue of a vintage pedal. So it's just cool because it's orange velvet.
Robert Freeman had asked what's your go-to pedal. I think you may have answered that. Just
I will say this on my bass side for the bass tone that I'm using. I use the Damnation Audio MBD2. Hands down, if you're a bass player, because you're a bass player, bro. If you want a pedal that's good for just gain, you can dial in some clean. It's just Damnation Audio does a really good job of like just bass pedals. So that's
Damnation Audio. If you're watching, you gotta have to sponsor these ladies.
That'd be awesome.
You got an endorsement right here. Man. Well, what would be one message you would give your fans?
What would you tell?
Well, gonna try to tour as soon as possible and record the EP as soon as possible. Yeah, like we do things New Orleans time, a
little slow and low.
It's worth it because it's gonna sound better.
I would definitely tell all the female and female identifying fans to, if you want to play music, do it. Like, who cares if I don't know, just as a female identifying person who's wanted to play music their entire life, it feels like there's always been kind of a barrier, or there's a gate. It seems like in the past there's been sort of a gate, but I think nowadays people are a lot more open. And I'm very thankful to have a lot of really awesome men around me that actually want to help me learn. And they're not going to make me, feel bad for asking dumb questions. But I want all the girls and all the days to like believe in themselves. If you want to play music, just do it. Just pick it up, make some noise. It's the most cathartic and freeing thing that you can do. Music is it saved my life. It's been the most important thing in my life. So do it. Just do it.
Yeah. Dang it. I swear I'm good at this sometimes. If you could work with any certain producer.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, I don't know any producers. Well, actually, I don't know if he produces. But to be able to like work with like someone like Brant Bjork would be like amazing, like he's old school Palm Desert scene, but I don't know, this question we should probably since we are trying to. There's a guy on the North Shore, Louisiana, that is a producer, and we're thinking about working with him. His name's Jack Miele. I think it's important for us to find, as a duo, to find sort of maybe our person that could kind of help us hone in and maybe focus. Like we know what we want to do. At least I think I know what I want to do. but does it sound good when we record it? I think people are appreciating it live, but you know, will it sound good on record? So that's our goal, is to find that last person to kind of just to be in the room and not necessarily just click record and be like, you know, is that good? But like to help us and be critical and help us, you know, guide us and stuff.
Well, you do have a Bandcamp. I've seen that.
Yeah.
You have what other media would you like to plug in?
We have a
Spotify.
Yeah, we did the whole CD Baby route, so all of our stuff is on like Spotify and iTunes and stuff like that. And social media has honestly been our biggest gateway to get our stuff out. Because when we first started and we didn't have any music, we just started posting progress, and then from there, like, we really started to get a lot of following, or just we gained a lot of interest, you know, with social media. So like Instagram is a big go-to for us, and Facebook and stuff as well. We're trying to get on the Twitter wagon, but to me, Twitter just seems like a room of people yelling at one another. So.
Yeah, there's good applications for Twitter, but generally speaking,
yeah. Seems
Mm-hmm.
Robert asked, what female artist did you look up to made you want to be a musician?
When I was starting to play drums, I was 17. I was playing like punk grunge because that's all I could play when I started playing drums. Was the easiest thing. And the first bands that inspired me was like Runaways and Joan Jett. And I thought, oh man, yeah, that's possible. Well, it's possible to have a girl band. And that's when I started to have girl bands. Then that's all I want to have since I started to play drums. Yeah, they are my first influence for sure.
Yeah, no, like Lita Ford was a big one for me. I mean, like once again, as a young girl growing up and wanting to play music so terribly, not having any representation was kind of hard. So I mean, for me, like, a lot of my influences were men, but like Lori from Acid King is huge. There's a lot of women. It's really cool. I think we live in an awesome time where there's a lot more women out there, and you know, they're playing guitar, they're playing drums. They're not just sort of being the pretty female fronted, as they like to call it. So yeah.
All right. Is there anything you want to add before we start to wrap this up?
July is actually going to be a pretty busy month for us. We've got a show on the 16th in Lafayette again at the Freetown Boom Boom Room. And then New Orleans does a 3-day festival called Creepy Fest. And it really, I think Creepy Fest, it's like 35 bands, I think. Creepy Fest does an amazing job of sort of showing the cross section of what like the New Orleans scene is. So I'm really, really excited about that. So, and we're going to play that Sunday, which is the ending of Creepy Fest. And then on the 25th, we're going to be playing with our buddies Sidonia. I love those guys. So July is actually going to be pretty busy. I mean, the more that we can book shows, the better, the more experience it's going to give me for sure. I need it. And then hopefully the goal is to do the EP in August, maybe get it out in September, and then maybe do like a little winter tour, like a little 2-week tour through Louisiana and Texas. So fingers crossed.
Let's plug in your Bandcamp address real quick. Is it just Spitfire Bandcamp or band or?
Let's see.
Always Spitfire.
It is Spitfire NOLA.
Okay.
Band. Yeah.
Okay. Well, one more thing before we go. Do you have or two more things actually? Do you have a favorite bad joke?
I do.
All right. So what you're going to do here is you're going to say, "This is Michelle from the band Spitfire, and here's your joke of the week."
This is Michelle from the band Spitfire, and my joke is: a dog walked into a bar, slams it down. He's like, "I'm looking for the man who shot my paw." I love that one so much. It's so dumb. That one?
Yeah, I gotta work on the jokes in English. I'm so bad. I'm gonna work for next time.
Okay. You can send one to me, Facebook message anytime you want. I know a hack to get onto the audio podcast, which I'll use that at a later date. And then finally, will you record me a soundbite, a promo? You just say, "This is Spitfire," and you're tuned in to Undergroundopolis.
Okay.
That's all you got to say.
It's girls playing music. It's crazy.
Ladies on instruments. It's wild. Nah, I'm Michelle.
I'm Anna.
And we're Spitfire from New Orleans. Thank you all for tuning in. And thank you, Rob, for having us. I'm glad you found our video.
All right. Well, be sure to subscribe. Go to their Facebook page, their Instagrams, everything. Hit them up, follow, subscribe, everything you can to help them out. Watch for their music. Subscribe to Undergroundopolis on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube, and hit that thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up on the video so this gets as far as it can. And this is your host, Rob Lyon, and we are signing off.
Thanks for having us, Rob.